Hello, lovers. Welcome back to my channel. This is the Mindset Mentor Podcast with Anosong. I am your host. Thank you so much for always returning back to my videos. I appreciate you so much. Okay, lately, my thought has been flying around. Like, I just felt like I needed to talk on this subject. Now, it would be surprising to hear that Larry Ellison was also called Daddy. Okay, now in the interest of those of you who may not necessarily know Larry Ellison happens to be the chairman of Oracle Corporation. Oracle Corporation is a multinational company that deals with software development and their own cloud. If you have ever heard of cloud belongs to them. Larry Ellison is one of those very rich, wealthy men today in the world. He may not necessarily be the most wealthy of them, but he is in that list. Okay, as of today, he is worth 61.8 billion US dollars, and the value of the market value of Oracle today around the globe is about 186 point something million dollars. Now, why did I start by saying Larry Ellison was also called Daddy? I started that way because there is something that has to do with poverty. You know, when a person is poor, when a person is very broke, people tend to see them as, daddy, being daddy. The reason is because you need finances to do a lot of things, and that is commonsensical.
Can you take me back and tell me how you've done this, Larry? You're the godfather of technology. You founded this company. You're still thriving. You're still coming up with all these innovation things, and I could see how passionate you are. You're beating everybody. And you came from such humble beginnings, grew up on the south side of Chicago, dropped out of college. Now you have collections of cars, jets, private homes, owning the island of Lanai. Tell me how you did it.
Well, I think my favorite line is I had all the disadvantages necessary for success. When you're raised on the south side of Chicago, you probably want to move someplace nicer. And I think if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. So I've always been very ambitious. I've always been very curious.
Now, lately we have seen people calling people derogatory names on social media, but it's important for people to know that a person does not necessarily like bright colors, doesn't necessarily make them dirty. That a person is not materialistic does not necessarily make them dirty. That a person does not want to be part of the high and mighty in the society does not necessarily make them dirty. I think what we should celebrate is that, there is something that is changing in the mainstream society where you see people who are, intelligent, people who are bright, people who know themselves, like they have clarity of purpose, okay? Where you see a person who is very, very poor, perhaps, coming out to stand his ground or her grounds and saying that this is exactly what I want out of my life. I'm not going to be mass motivated because the entire world is, tilting towards the south. I want to go to the south, okay? And so now people find it very comfortable to call people who are poor daddy, but it's important for us to understand that people have their stories and they have their struggles. That a person is in a certain space does not necessarily make them dead. Sometimes when people are struggling with something in life, they are trying to gather themselves to get to that direction where they want to see their lives. They struggle with a whole lot of things. I think it is very wrong for people to get up every day. You call a person you have never met, you never had an interface with, you don't know what they go through, and begin to call them daddy. And this is exactly what happens in the mainstream society, where people describe people, use very hurtful adjectives to describe certain people. Like I said from the very beginning, sometimes when people are poor, you tend to think that they are dirty, and other times I do know that there are people who may be dirty even if they are not poor. But then again, when people do not have that kind of resources to care for themselves as much as they need to, most people tend to describe them as dirty. Then coming back to the country, let's look at Mercy Johnson. When Mercy Johnson started, Mercy came from a very, very, well, I would say, a background that up till now, a lot of us may not necessarily understand, because only recently there was a new development that had to do with Mercy Johnson. But Mercy Johnson, in the interest of those who still may not know her, she is a Nigerian film actress who has done well for herself. She grew from grass to grace, and I do remember when she started, a lot of people use the adjective "daddy" to describe her, and it does not necessarily mean matter where you're coming from, as long as you know exactly where you're going to. And it's important for everybody to understand that people will describe you with whatever adjective they feel comfortable to describe you with, but you need to stay as focused as you want to stay, because of course you cannot make what people are saying about you your reality. You have no control over what people say about you or the adjective people want to use in describing you. You have control over the way you handle things about your life. But I think that it is only fair for us to understand people's struggle before we use such adjectives to describe them as daddy. Today, how many of us can be in front of Mercy Johnson? How many of us can even contact her? A lot of people long to contact Mercy Johnson, be like her. She has, proven beyond reasonable doubt that where you come from does not necessarily matter, is where you are going to. Let's look at Timaya today. I do know that Timaya granted an interview. There was a time he talked about the names people called him. Timaya was also called daddy. Today, how many of you can go in front of Timaya or be there? It's important to know that when people are trying to create themselves or recreate themselves, or they are going through the journey of life that will take them to their place of purpose, they struggle a lot with a whole lot of stuff. And you do not sit far away and begin to call them names. People are different. One thing that makes the world so beautiful is our diversity. Your values may be driving very big cars, living in a tush mansion, and all of that. And the other person's value may just necessarily be helping people. Creating a platform that breathes anew into people's life, bringing people out, trying to, help other people. And now the fact that they don't have that kind of gigantic dreams and aspiration, or, they don't really necessarily desire that lease of life that you have for the noun, doesn't necessarily make them dirty, okay? And so I think we should write this in bold letters in our consciousness and understand that people started somewhere. A lot of great people today, like Larry Ellison I talked about, started from somewhere. He was called daddy too. A lot of great people today in the world, people will call mentor, were also called daddy. And so it is very, very wrong to call people you have never had an interface with. If you have had a one-on-one, meeting with these people, you could say, okay, I met him at so and so time, and he was talking, and the mouth was oozing, the armpits and everything. But you cannot stay very far away and begin to describe people as dirty just because they don't like bright colors, or because they want to trek to their cars, or because they don't drive fancy cars, or because they don't live in tush homes. Hello, nobody does that these days. People look at the value that is embedded in people. What value is that person bringing into the table? When you see a young man or woman who is trying to build a platform where they can help people, where people bringing people to come together and support, the best resources you can have is human resources. And this person sat down, calculated, thought through it, that if I can bring people together, one person cannot do it alone, but in huge number, we can come together and make things happen in the country. And you see a person like that, and you're not thinking about the value that is embedded in this person, you're thinking about the outward appearance of that person. I think that is itself a no-brainer. I wanted to bring this to you. People, I appreciate you for always coming back to my channel. If you do like my videos, kindly, follow and subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you.